Hello, my name is Catchlappe, and this is my video/presentation about the beauty of video essays. So you may be asking yourself, what is a video essay? The direct definition of a video essay as described by the Malacaster College is what it sounds like. An in-depth analysis that allows you to take advantage of an image and sound to present an argument or develop a thesis, which pretty much allows for the writer/creator to broaden their audience horizons and gives them a chance to present their findings to pretty much anyone who can access the video. Well, where are they? And who makes these videos? Video essays are commonly found on the video sharing platform known as YouTube. Creators, or better known as YouTubers, dedicate dozens of hours to research, fact-checking, writing, and editing these videos just so their audience can consume their sweet content for free and at the utmost quality. Thanks to the platform's easy search system, you can find a video essay on just about any subject you're interested in. And here are some examples of videos that I'm going to be talking about today in this video. These 3 videos, in my personal opinion, are very thought-provoking and eye-opening in a way, and the tone that these 3 YouTubers specifically use in their videos is something that I wish more people would do. When it comes to documentaries, maybe even articles, hell, even newscasters should have this kind of attitude when it comes to presenting information to an audience who pretty much is there to learn about what they're talking about. So for the first video, The Death of the Awkward Face for Gen Alpha, it explains growing issues with the current generations. Looking like adults before becoming preteens, making their parents buy expensive clothing/makeup/trinkets because it's trendy, and etc. Unlike most, this YouTuber specifically instead draws attention to the lack of parenting instead of immediately going to make fun of the kids for acting too grown for their age, which is a common theme I see among people my age, people who are a lot older. So this YouTuber specifically shares her frustrations about how these parents don't monitor what their kids are consuming. And here's some quotes that tie into that video that I took from the video pretty much. But I can't blame the kids. These days, they're growing up a lot faster, a lot younger. But the parents, they constantly facilitate this behavior. As of late, mainstream department stores even are offering clothing options to preteens that resemble a grown adult's closet. Bright colors and modest designs have been replaced with devoid of color garments and crop tops that you would never imagine a preteen wearing, let alone parents buying. And that final, 4 words is what really takes the cake for me, let alone parents buying. It really kind of cleans up her point and says, you cannot blame the kids for acting the way that they are when parents are pretty much enabling this behavior. They are allowing their children to have social media at such a young age, allowing them to become influenced by online influencers who are much older than them, allowing them to participate in these quote-unquote trends by buying the latest and prettiest makeup, the newest Lululemon tracksuit, or the cutest little trinket you could put on your purse because everyone else is doing it, when in reality, no one else their age is doing it. Because in order to participate in these trends, you would have to be a consumer. Someone with a mainstream amount of money. But these are children. They don't have a job. They don't have a paycheck that comes in bi-weekly. So, of course, the parents are buying them all these things to make them feel like they're a part of something. And that alone is something I feel like isn't talked about enough. And going to our next video, we need to talk about inappropriate age gaps, which is a deep dive into a genre of media, movies, shows, books, more specifically the movie that came out in 2023, titled No Hard Feelings. I believe this movie came out in 2010, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I don't know when this film came out, but call me by your name. Books like Lolita, shows like I think Scott Pilgrim had a show at one point also. The biopic Priscilla, depicting Priscilla Presley. This YouTuber specifically talks about how more often than not, these kind of tropes are romanticized and sometimes even used as a gag in these medias rather than literally being gagged at. The video's creator, Nikki Carrion, uses many old movies and new, as I mentioned earlier, along with people's responses to them online as proof that furthers her point. We as a society act way too normal about age gaps. And this quote also, this paragraph kind of, also really encapsulates what she's talking about in this video, and it definitely drew my attention to a bigger issue than what I thought it was, and I pretty much share the same exact reaction to her. I have no idea why, but I expected this to be uncontroversial. I thought this was as fact-based as saying the sky is blue or the world is round, but to my horror and dismay, there were so many people in this comment section that defended what he did to her, and even outright deny that there was anything wrong with their relationship. Their relationship in question is referring to Elvis and Priscilla Presley's, which, as you know or you may not know, Priscilla at the time was 14 when she met Elvis, and he was 24, which in modern times is pretty weird. And in modern times, you think, that should have always been weird, but a lot of people don't think so. In this video, she mentions how in the comments of a post that was advertising the biopic about Priscilla's life and the toxic relationship she went through when it came to marrying Elvis, a lot of people in the comment section were complaining about this biopic's accuracy when it came to portraying their quote-unquote king of rock and roll in the way that he literally acted in life. Most people were saying that they were pretty much slandering his name and how it really wasn't that big of a deal that she was younger than him because it was a product of the time. And yes, I will say and admit that in older times it was pretty casual for people to have big age gaps like this. My own parents, have an age gap of 5 years, my mom being 14 when she met my 19-year-old dad, and if that sort of thing were to happen in today's terms, it would probably not pass as normal as it did back then. And I feel like because of that change in feeling, is why it's not really seen as something inappropriate and strange, just because the times have quite literally changed when it's not something that should be treated like a trend. Thinking age gaps are weird shouldn't be a product of our time. It should be a moral construct that should have been pre-established long ago. And moving on to our final video, the radical act of being content. The main topic is the definition of being content and the definition by today's standards. If you participate in the latest fads and own all the coolest trending goods, you should be happy. And I quote from the video, "We're just used to shopping. Shopping is familiar and craving is familiar. The idea of something new becomes a default response even if we're not looking at everything or everything is fine." Which pretty much means people are just shopping to shop. Once again, going back to social media kind of indoctrinating being a consumer into our brains. Just because you see someone buying something that's pretty cool online doesn't exactly mean that you have to bandwagon it to essentially develop and adopt this mindset just because everyone else is doing it, so what's the harm in it? And this quote here, once again, really, really makes her point stand out more, and I think she just worded it so perfectly. So here it is. "We are constantly told, explicitly and implicitly, that who we are is not enough on its own. That we need to express our identity through products, clothes, skincare routines, home decor, and hobbies. Arguably, hobby supplies. Identity becomes something you build through purchases, not just how you look, but how you organize your kitchen, and not just how you dress, but how you curate your life. It's just such a strong quote that perfectly ties this entire point into a nice little bow and really opened my own eyes. When it comes to following trends, people really don't see how influencers are making you a consumer, and essentially themselves as influencers, their entire personality is being a consumer. Their favorite things are talking about brands that they love, or their Amazon storefront that they have in their bio that you should check out. You know, it's becoming a lost art to have a personality and hobbies that you enjoy. Instead, it is much more common to associate yourselves with brands and brand names and celebrities instead of things that people like. So, why do I think the topics of these video essays are so eye-opening to the point where I believe they're a beacon of hope? It's a breath of fresh air. The lack of strong bias shown in these videos is unlike most things we see online these days, allowing the viewer a space to breathe, to form their own opinion. Simply created to provide information and spread awareness, there isn't any bandwagon to hop on, trend to follow, or way of thinking that's even remotely advertised here. In my opinion, more media like this is needed in order for people to learn more about media literacy. In his book, Technology, Media Literacy, and the Human Subject, A Post-Human Approach, author Richard Lewis writes about the importance of learning how to be aware of the media you're consuming. He states, "The field of media literacy attempts to shed light on how we use and are potentially used by media. With media, technology, everywhere in our lives, it becomes an ordinary, commonplace." He strongly suggests that the media we consume is powerful enough to warp our already pre-established view of things, have our minds set on one thing before allowing our thoughts to even have a say about it. Quote, "We live in this mediated environment, and now, more than ever, it is important to have a comprehensive media literacy program that helps us better understand the effects of our media-rich environment." Which I think is absolutely true. We as people need to be able to differentiate when someone is trying to sell us something compared to when someone is trying to educate us on one thing. The bandwagon effect. Kendra Cherry writes in her article, "The bandwagon effect as a cognitive bias, that before anything, people let their FOMO, aka fear of missing out, dictate their opinions and desires before thinking if it's even worth thinking, trying, or buying." Quote, "The bandwagon effect is a part of a larger group of cognitive biases or errors in thinking that influence the judgments and decisions that people make. Some listed examples are diets, elections, fashion, music, and social networks, aka online trends. And some of these things are a lot less serious than others, such as fashion, music, and social networks. Like, let's be real. The kind of clothes that you wear, the music that you listen to, and the kind of trends that you follow online aren't going to kill you. However, diets and elections might. People are more prone to picking the candidate in elections that they believe are going to win, when in reality, it is not so easy as flipping a coin to dictate the person that you should choose to govern your life, to govern the country that you live in, and even to govern the people around you. You know, it shouldn't be treated so lightly as, yeah, I think this guy's gonna win, so he has my vote. People need to open their eyes and use the brains that they were given to them before hopping on a bandwagon, before doing what everyone else is doing, because it can quite literally kill. It's life or death, baby. Here are my sources also. You could just pause and check those out. Pretty cool stuff. And that's all. Thank you very much for watching this video / slideshow presentation, I appreciate it.